I guess what's happening right now for me is I'm seeing the two channels. The road that happens if you're in tune and you're willing to keep an open mind, you're willing to keep an open heart, you're willing to be vulnerable, you're willing to be, yeah, hit me, I'm good. Oh, and the other like, no, I don't want to know, I don't want to care, I don't want to care, I don't want to know. I just think, I think it's going to be what is that word, exasperating? I think it's going to be challenging, and I feel it's going to be, I feel like for those of us who are working our way through some of this muck, like, you know, how sometimes you're working towards things and you can feel like, oh, it's not happening fast enough. I feel like I'm getting stopped. I feel like I'm being slowed down. You may be. It may be just spirit kind of barking at your heels saying, hey, are you sure you want this? Sometimes spirit will make us work harder for the things that we want to prove a point, right? To make sure, are you really committed to yourself? Because if you're really committed to yourself, we're going to commit to you too. And we're going to bring it. We're going to bring it for you. And we need to know that you're ready for it. Because if you're not committed and we start to bring you this energy, you could collapse. You could fall. You could buckle under the pressure of it. You could buckle under the confusion energy as you're trying to sort out your new realities. Like, who am I anymore? I've heard that word rebirthing a couple times as I've been talking about this. So I feel like a lot of us are going back to our core mechanics where we're intact. And then all this other stuff is just fueled on top of us. You know, we're like heavy and getting bogged down by it. And meanwhile, if you're just like, yeah, that's not mine. I don't need that, thanks. Oh, I can recognize that that's just a slowdown tactic. I'm not going to buy into it. You could be finding the workaround. And I would encourage you to. I would encourage you to push through the walls, the invisible walls that are around you, touch upon them, see if you can open a doorway here or open a window that you can see things through better, and just trust it. We have to have faith. I do feel like there are so many things clamoring for our attention that our real focus could go soft, right? Like, so be careful to not let yourself get dragged into the dynamics that you don't want to be involved in. Like maybe there's people that you're just better off not hanging out with, or things that just your spidey sense is telling you, yeah, that's, I don't know, that's not for me. And I want to say something about that too, because I want to endorse how intuition works. Some of us get very clear messaging and we know exactly how our intuition works, and some people have it way more subtly. It can just be this uneasy feeling. So I would just encourage you not to do anything that feels off ever, because if you're in this inception period and there is this sense of rebirthing, you could be rebirthing parts of yourself that have been lying dormant, that had to freeze for a little bit in place while you did other things or took care of other people or situations, or maybe you got more involved at work and you couldn't deal with your personal stuff. I just feel like this is the catch up. I feel like this is the time where somehow we're going to find the right balance. We're struggling to find the right balance. Some of us are going to feel guilty to take that balance seriously. No, this is much better for my mental health. I'm going to go do that. And we're worried that we're going to be pissing a whole bunch of people off. And what are they maybe going to be doing? Maybe they're going to be judging us. And maybe that's okay. And maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. Like, I would also say, remember that you are a divine being connected to your own divine source, and your authority is hopefully your God source information, or at least your higher self. If you're not willing to quite go into the God plane yet, at least your higher self. What needs to happen is we just need to commit to the parts of ourselves that are trying to come into better form or into a new form and a new structure. And anyway, we're really trying to get the sustainable parts of our lives handled. And I know everybody has a different approach depending on what generation you're in and things like that, right? Like 20-year-olds are going to have a different motivation than 40-year-olds and 60-year-olds and things like that. So I do feel like there's a better understanding of what we need to do for ourselves that can't be negotiated out of our day. Like, sorry, if you're being driven by spirit right now, then you're already on the journey, right? They're not going to take you ass backwards down the hillside. They're going to take you forward into the mountaintop. And success can be daunting. If we have good success, we may feel alone too, right? Like there's a lot of old programming that just doesn't even make sense. Like the fear of success, like what the F? Don't be afraid to succeed. Just go do it and have the fun. Get into the winner circle. Oh, that's the other thing. I feel like people are kind of looking around at who's around them going, oh, gee, I don't know. Can I do better right now? Can I have an upgrade? Can I do an upgrade? So your soul could be craving more conscious driven people. Your soul may be craving people who are open-minded, who are willing to take risks. So don't be afraid to move yourself around to find yourself. I do feel like people are going to be traveling more, even if it's just a little shorter little things. Some of us just astral travel, and that's free. You know what I mean? I can go to Paris and it doesn't cost me anything. I hope that we do have a new story. I hope that the new story you're creating is your story. Hopefully you're not trying to run a program that isn't yours and hoping that it works, because sometimes that can be a little emptying. That can empty our resources pretty quickly if we're not careful. Fits and starts. I'm hearing that phrase, fits and starts. Fits and starts. So it could be some of our emotional world. It could be driving us forward in a way where I don't care. I've just got to be happy. I don't care. I've just got to be at peace. I don't care. I just need this for myself. I feel like there's this urgency to get it together. We could just be like, you know what? I don't care what you think. I got what I think, and I'm going to work with that. And I'm going to trust my inner thoughts, because somewhere in there, they're working for me, and I'm just going to keep barreling through here. Thanks for your advice, though. So it could go either way. Yeah, I guess it just depends who you are. If you're already living exalted versions of yourself, this cycle could be very fun. It could be really interesting for you, because you could be aware, hey, this is where I'm pushing myself because I need my breakthrough. And if I just stick with it a few more days, it's going to happen. I would say keep the faith. The faith is going to be important. But if you're doing anything about looking into the past, I would say do an inventory of what you got right. Make an inventory of what went well because you did the right thing, and work with that. Because if you focus too much on what you didn't do right, like, first of all, that's subjective. You know, like, spirit would be like, you did everything right. Thank you for being a divine orchestrated being. Now we can orchestrate you. You know? Yeah, I think the world is changing very quickly, and I think it's disconcerting for a lot of people, because they're like, where is my anchor? How am I going to anchor this? Maybe you don't have to worry about the anchor quite yet. Maybe if there is an anchor, just let it be what you need. You know, I need a little bit of peace, so go find it. I need a little bit of rest, so go get it. I need a little bit of fun, so go have it. And try really hard not to overthink anything that is negative, because we can learn from things that were mistakes. There's a lot we can learn from ourselves as well. And be compassionate. It's crazy out there. So your inner world is going to be the place where you have the best results as far as sticking to what makes the most sense for you in your world. You're allowed to create your own world. You do not have to buy into this world for another day. I mean, heavens be. And maybe that's what I see. I feel like there's going to be more activists activating things. I feel like spirit's activating the activists who are going to activate the populace, who's going to activate the governments, and that's how it's going to go. So I feel like the powder keg, and maybe that's the heat of the summer, you know? I mean, man, it is hot out there. Yeah, I think so. So try to keep cool, try to keep calm, try to stay focused, don't get down rabbit holes that aren't yours to go into, and just keep the faith. Yep. All right, that's my reading. I hope it makes sense to you. I hope you will love yourself through the hard stuff, and I'll see you again. And until then, have a great everything. Bye for now.